Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Unlocked English. It's always so nice to have you here with me again. Wherever you are in the world, I hope you're feeling relaxed and ready to spend some time learning and thinking in English. Today, we're going to talk about something very simple, but also very real, something that most people do every week or maybe even every day. We're going to talk about going to the supermarket. Now, I know that doesn't sound like a big topic, but if you think about it, the supermarket is full of English words, sentences, and little daily situations that you can actually use in real life. You can practice speaking, listening, and thinking in English, even while buying milk or bread. So today, I'll tell you a story about one of my recent visits to the supermarket. And as we go, I'll ask you some questions and share a few useful phrases you can remember. So let's start. A few days ago, I realized I didn't have much food at home. I opened my fridge and it was almost empty. No milk, no eggs, no bread, not even butter. Do you know that feeling when you open the fridge and think, oh no, I really need to go shopping? That was exactly how I felt that day. So I took my phone and opened the Notes app to write a small shopping list. I wrote milk, eggs, bread, apples, cheese, and maybe coffee. I like to make lists because without them, I always forget something. Do you make shopping lists too? If you don't, maybe you should try. It's a great way to practice writing in English. You can write your list in English next time you go shopping. Anyway, I put on my shoes, grabbed my reusable shopping bag, and went outside. It was a sunny afternoon, the kind of day when you actually enjoy walking somewhere. I walked down the street and looked at people passing by. Some were carrying shopping bags, others were talking on their phones. I smiled because I thought, we're all doing the same thing, living our normal lives. And somehow that felt nice. When I arrived at the supermarket, I grabbed a small basket near the entrance. A man at the door smiled and said, "Good afternoon." I smiled back and said, "Hi." It's such a small thing, but it always makes me feel good when someone greets me like that. Don't you agree? Just a simple hello can make your day a little better. Inside, the supermarket was quiet, not too crowded. Soft music was playing in the background. The lights were bright, and everything looked clean and organized. The first thing I noticed was the smell of fresh bread coming from the bakery section. That smell always reminds me of when I was little. When I was a kid, my mom and I used to go to the bakery every Saturday morning, and she would always buy warm bread, even if we didn't need it, just because it smells so good. Do you also have smells that remind you of good memories? I started walking through the aisles. Do you know what an aisle is? It's the path between the shelves in a store. For example, the bread is in aisle 3. Can you repeat that? The bread is in aisle 3. Good job. So I walked down the first aisle where all the fruits and vegetables were. The apples looked shiny and fresh. I picked up a few red ones and put them in my basket. Then I saw the bananas. They were on sale. I took a small bunch and thought, perfect for breakfast. Next, I found some oranges. They looked juicy and I couldn't resist. I took 2. Do you like oranges? I think they're one of the happiest fruits, bright, colorful, and full of energy. After the fruits, I went to the dairy section. There were so many kinds of milk, full fat, low fat, lactose free, soy milk, almond milk. It's almost confusing, right? Sometimes I just stand there thinking, which one should I take? Finally, I decided to take one bottle of regular milk. Then I grabbed a small piece of cheese. I really love cheese. I could eat cheese every day, on bread, on pasta, or just by itself. What about you? Do you like cheese? Next, I want to get some bread. I always buy whole grain bread. It's healthier and stays fresh longer. But that day, the smell of the freshly baked white bread was too strong to resist. I looked at it and thought, okay, maybe just this once. So I took one warm loaf. It felt soft in my hand, and the smell made me even hungrier. Then I walked to the coffee section. There were so many options: instant coffee, ground coffee, beans, and even fancy flavors like vanilla or caramel. Do you drink coffee every day? I do. Every morning. The first thing I do is make a cup of coffee. It's like a small ritual, a moment to wake up slowly and think about the day ahead. So, of course, I took a bag coffee too. Something funny happened while I was walking there. I saw a small boy with his mother, and he was asking for cookies. He said, "Mom, can we buy cookies? Please." His mom laughed and said, "We already have cookies at home." But he didn't stop asking. He followed her and said, "But these are different cookies." That made me smile because it reminded me of myself when I was young. I always wanted chocolate or candy at the store, and my mom always said the same thing. "We already have some at home." It's funny how some things never change. After that, I went to the snack aisle. There were chips, biscuits, nuts, and chocolates. So many choices. I looked at everything for a while. Then I told myself, no, not today. Do you ever talk to yourself like that? Sometimes I do, especially when I want to buy something that I don't really need. But okay, I'll be honest with you. I did take one small chocolate bar. Just one. I think we all deserve a treat sometimes, right? When I finished shopping, I went to the checkout. That's the place where you pay for your items. There were two people in front of me in the line. A man was paying with cash, and a woman behind him was using her phone to pay. I looked at my basket. It wasn't too full, but it was still a bit heavy. While waiting, I looked around. The supermarket had big posters with phrases like "fresh every day" and "buy one, get one free." Do you have these kind of offers where you live? They're very common here, and people love them. When it was my turn, the cashier smiled and said, "Hi there. Did you find everything okay?" I said, "Yes, thank you." She scanned the items, beep, 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 and then said, "That will be $23, please." I paid, took my bag, and said, "Have a nice day." She smiled and said, "You too." When I left the supermarket, I felt good. It might sound strange, but doing simple things like shopping can make you feel calm. I walked home slowly, carrying my bag full of food. The sun was setting and the air was warm. When I got home, I put everything on the kitchen table and looked at it: milk, eggs, apples, bread, cheese, and coffee. I thought, okay, I'm ready for the week. Then I made myself a cup of coffee and sat near the window. I could hear birds outside, and I just took a deep breath. It was a small, quiet moment, but it felt good. Do you ever feel happy doing something simple like that? Just being in the moment? I think that's one of the best feelings in life. Now, let's review some useful English expressions you heard today. You can repeat them after me if you want. That's a great way to practice pronunciation. Shopping list, a list of things you want to buy. Basket, a small container you carry in the supermarket. Cart, a big basket with wheels that you push. Dairy section, the area with milk, cheese, butter, and yogurt. Bakery, the section where you find bread, cakes, and pastries. Checkout, the place where you pay for your items. Cashier, the person who works at the checkout. Receipt, the paper you get after paying. On sale, when something is cheaper than usual. Try to use these words in a small story about your own shopping experience. For example, yesterday I went to the supermarket. I took a basket and bought milk, eggs, and bread. Then I went to checkout and paid the cashier. Everything was on sale. That's already a good short story in English. Before we finish, let me ask you a few more questions to help you think in English. What do you usually buy when you go to the supermarket? Do you prefer big supermarkets or small local stores? Do you like shopping alone or with someone? And what's your favorite food to buy? You don't have to answer out loud, but if you can, try to answer in English, even if it's just a few words. The more you think in English, the faster you'll improve. Remember, learning a language isn't only about grammar or rules. It's also about living with the language every day, seeing it, hearing it, and using it in small situations. As I finish this story, I want you to remember something simple. You can learn English anywhere, not just in a classroom. Even a trip to the supermarket can be a chance to practice. You can look at product labels, read signs, or talk to the cashier. Every small interaction helps you feel more confident, and confidence is the key to learning any language. So next time you go shopping, try to notice English words around you. Maybe you'll see something like special offer or fresh produce. Say those words in your mind. Repeat them. You're not just buying food, you're practicing English. And that's exactly what Unlocked English is all about. Finding small ways to connect language with real life. All right, my friends, that's all for today's episode. Thank you so much for listening to Unlocked English. I really enjoyed talking with you today. I hope you learned some new words, felt relaxed, and maybe smiled a few times. Remember, every simple moment can be a chance to learn something new. Even something as simple as a trip to the supermarket. Take care, stay kind to yourself, and keep learning. I'll see you, or I should say talk to you, in the next episode.